I said, I just see this like what they call this, a hydra-headed monster that is connected to. So I feel it's coming from a place where I feel the federal government is not living up to its expectation. And I also feel the governors also are not living up to expectation with the allocations they are getting.
What is the federal government failing in terms of expectations that they're not living up to? I didn't get that.
So I feel the president actually has a way of holding these people. Okay, let me just use FCT, for instance, as an example. There's a statutory allocation that goes to every area council every month, for instance. And recently, for some reasons, the minister felt like the local government chairmen are not doing what they are supposed to do with it. There is this 10% that is supposed to go to every area council chairman in FCT. But recently, Wike seized it and he said they've not been able to properly account for the previous ones that he has been giving to them. So this one, he's going to spend it on their behalf to reach the people. Now, if you notice, teachers have been on strike for... Now, I'm a person of interest in this particular story. That is why I know this story very well. So Wike said he's going to pay this money directly to the teachers and the area council workers directly. And he has actually started doing that in, let me say, the last 3 weeks now. He had to negotiate with the Nigerian Union of Teachers. He negotiated with them and they called off the strike with a promissory note from him that I'm going to seize this allocation from the local government chairman and disburse it directly to your account. And he did that. And right now, teachers in primary school in FCT are smiling.
So that's a federal government level intervention.
So this is, I'm using the states now, I'm using FCT as a state to explain this. So just the same way Wike has that power to seize that 10% allocation, the federal government also has a way, and I think Goodluck Jonathan did that at some point. I can't remember now that he seized a part of allocation belonging to some people. At some point, some governors took him to court on this particular matter even, but he seized some of the allocations because they were not well explained what they were doing with them. So I feel the same way the federal government can sit on these governors to do the right thing with this money, number one. Then the governors also, I feel morality, the burden of morality lies on them to be accountable for the funds they are getting. Everything must not go to court. You are humans in the first place. You promise these people that you are going to serve them, so serve them with the money. And I also feel that's why I say it's like a hydra-headed monster. So I feel it's complacency from the federal government to the state government and to the masses themselves, like he said, that are not holding their governors accountable. So I feel if all these people come together and like if everybody lives up to their expectation, from the federal to the governors to the masses demanding accountability, budget has done a lot of things, like he said, with showing people how these monies are being disbursed. What we don't see is how it's being spent. We always, if you go, even on my phone, you can subscribe to their email. You know how much FAAC allocates every month, but what you will never see is how these monies are being spent. And it will almost be like a wild goose chase. If you want to find out, you might never know. So I just feel, in conclusion, the federal government has a role to play in this. The governors themselves have, but I feel the burden lies more with the people, the electorate, that these people are going to come and sell their markets to in the coming months and all of that. I feel the burden lies on them to ask these people. This money, 800 billion, is not 100 million. It's not small money. It's not an amount of money that goes missing or alleged to go missing and people are quiet. I just feel everyone that is supposed to go to work should go to work to find out the authenticity. I was listening to the EFCC chairman when he said something recently that he investigated one pastor, Pastor Jerry, for like 6 months. And I was wondering, I don't think anybody sent a petition to him before he investigated Jerry. Most times they go looking for some of these people and just investigate without, it's like unsolicited investigation. So right now there is an investigation that is being solicited by the masses. There's an investigation that is being solicited that the people want EFCC, want INEC, want the bodies that have the power. So go and check if truly 800 billion is missing from FAAC allocation, and I feel will be good.
Okay. Let's open up the phone lines for a little bit. We'll come back and look at the campaign financing aspect of it. Say there was any trail of these monies getting into campaign financing. Has it entered into a deep bottomless pit that we will not be able to track, or do we actually have the framework that can actually track these monies, assuming INEC does take it up? But let's take a few phone calls and then we'll come back to that. If you want to get a word in, or add some context to this conversation, or ask questions, or just generally discuss, the numbers are 0809-597-4869 and on WhatsApp 0809-993-0137. We're also streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can go there and drop your comments as well. Let's discuss. We're looking at FAAC allocations and transparency. Is it possible, or is it a pipe dream? Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome.
My name is Agiola Victor from Isalagi.
All right, sir, go ahead.
This allegation about FAAC money being removed by this government, by state governors, 800 billion. Well, to me, it's not new. It's expected. These governors have become political emperors, and the president, we cannot say they don't know about this money, because both of them belong to FAAC. You see, when they want to share money, all of them have representatives. So therefore, millions of Nigerians is not new. But one thing is sure, that the next election is going to be heavily monetized. That one is sure. Before, we have been hearing of 5,000 per vote, but this time around, maybe we go for 10,000 or 20,000 or more. But one thing is sure, that I know, Nigerians are wise now. With all the billions and millions that's going to be disgraced in the next election, that's what is sure. Look at the primaries, the election primaries by red. Look at the number of powerful senators, powerful reps who lost out in the election.
Okay.
So that will be disgrace. And many more will be there. So let them remove all the money in Nigeria. I think the election will be disgraced in 2027. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Penna. Good morning. Good afternoon, ma.
Welcome.
My name is Victor Airport Road.
All right, sir. Go ahead.
Our foundation was faulty right from the First Republic. That was this kind of corruption that makes things almost struck. From 1962, when Jonathan took over, the debt was $485 billion. Now, fast forward, APC came. We're talking about trillions, 1.50 something trillion. Now you're talking 800 billion. If Nigerians are not ready to take their country into their hands, this is just what do they call it? A tip of the, what do they call it in this case?
Iceberg.
The debt is going to continue piling. And Somi, I work in the private setup. This kind of nonsense will not happen. I know in your Nigeria, you're succeeding because you're forthright, your management is forthright. I don't envy civil servants. They contribute to this mess. Like I always say, my children, I'm telling them to read professional courses. At the end of the day, I know where they're going. It's so sad. I'm going to Somi.
Okay.
Why are we going to get this right? Maybe we should go the China way. If you steal, they should behead you. I think that law should come to pass. That's another nice deliberation.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nigeria Info.
Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Ifeanyi. I'm calling from Kubwa.
Go ahead, Mr. Ifeanyi.
Sorry, let me make a point of correction from what your guest just said. Jonathan didn't seize funds. The money he kept was money that was meant for the several well funds. That was what they got from the oil windfall. So they wanted to save it, but the governor said no, the money must be shared. So it's not as if he took their money.
Okay.
Then on our point of discussion, I think the issues here are very clear. The president has nothing to do. It's the EFCC that has to work here. But the point is that these people are APC governors. EFCC is an arm of APC, so I don't know how they are supposed to handle that. And more importantly, INEC should be concerned, because if the governors actually worked hard and are sure that they worked hard, they don't need to be gathering funds to buy election votes. They don't need to gather money to start influencing elections. Their work, what they have put on ground, should be enough to make the people vote for them. So INEC should morally be listening to this discussion to say, how will I manage this election with all this amount of money they are gathering? Because it is for them to buy votes. Our country is so, I don't just know how to put it, but we should be ashamed. Even the governors, you go to some states, there's nothing on ground.
Okay.
Minimum wage cannot be paid, and yet they are gathering close to 1 trillion to buy votes.
All right. Thank you very much.
It's sad.
Thank you.
God bless Nigeria.
Amen. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam.
Welcome.
Yes, my name is Wanola and I'm calling from Ghana.
Welcome, Wonu.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Somi, honestly, I don't really know our offense in this country, why God gave us these such leaders. If we talk now, they will tell us that go and meet your governors. They are giving allocations. What are they doing with the money? Look at what they are using, the resources that is meant for the masses. Look at what our leaders are using it for. Your guest there, in fact, he has raised a vital point. But the question now is, who will bear the cat? Who is going to bear the cat? Is it the EFCC that is under the APC? Is it the ICPC that is it the INEC? Or is it the judiciary? Who do you want to call upon to come and fix this?
You're the second person. You're the second person saying that the EFCC is under the APC. How? That part is not quite clear.
Madam Somi, Governor Yaya Bello of 8 billion naira. Do you know that he just won his senatorial seat for Kogi?
Maman Saleh, though in absentia, was convicted. He's a member of the APC. Juxtapose the two of them together.
But the one, Madam Somi, the ones they are seeing, they are not convicting them. It is the people they are seeing that they are convicting. Madam Somi, God will us in this country, ma.
Amen. All right, then. Let's take a few messages and then we'll come back to the conversation. This one here. Okay. All right. In this part of the world, our leaders don't distinguish between campaigns, political party activities, and governance. If a president or governor emerges after elections, he or she becomes a leader of all the country or the state. Taking what belongs to a particular state to fund a political party is supposed to be a recallable or impeachable offense. Our leaders are taking advantage of our docility to deal with us. Chima from Mapo. I would like you to speak to the matter of docility on the part of the Nigerian people, but let me run through a few messages if you agree. OGB1 says, good afternoon. I don't think it's correct to tell average Nigerians to hold the governors accountable when the federal government, who has all the apparatus to question governors, refuse to do so. Have you not seen the difficulty in getting the attention of these governors on certain issues? This country has a particular system it operates. The masses, I hate to say this word, we're having a conversation every Thursday on why we shouldn't be calling ourselves the masses. So I will replace anywhere I see masses with the right thinking word, because I think this is part of the problem. When you continue to see yourself as the masses, you will feel hopeless. But he says they can do little or nothing to salvage the system. The federal government cannot lead the way. It's supposed to be the government of the people, but Nigerian governments don't listen to the government of the people. The head of federal government matters a lot. Compliance to our laws. Nobody should blame the poor. I replace it with people. Okay. It's easier to call out the president than to call out the state governors for scrutiny and accountability. This is Madiba from Abuja saying the state governor carry more of the blame than the federal. Okay. And Somi, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your guests. Mike from Abuja says, how do you expect INEC or EFCC to investigate this matter? Who will order them? The funds are gone. Nothing will come out of it. This coming elections will be highly monetized. Nigerians should crowd the timeline of all the borrowing agencies like they did to World Bank. That is one of the ways to stop this nonsense. Okay, just take a few thoughts from you people. We'll come back to the messages. First of all, do you think that Nigerians are really and truly docile? From the messages we've seen, from the calls that we've heard, because to a large extent, you both have also rested the responsibility of following through on this allegation on the shoulders of the people. Do you think we're too docile to do this?
First of all, I know the average Nigerian is a resilient person. So the word docile is a little bit harsh. So I would say Nigerians are not docile, but I would say complacent. They just let issues slide. Almost like I have food on my table, I go to work, that's not my business. So they're complacent in that nature. Because I know that when matters are pressing, matters that touch Nigerians, take for example in my place, Epoma, I'm from Epoma, right? Under this APC administration, when kidnapping was very rampant in my place like a couple of months back, the people took to the streets. They protested for like 2-3 days, and the governor responded immediately. So I know when Nigerians want to take action, nothing stops them. They drive home their points and they try as much as possible to get results, right? So I won't say they are docile. I would just say that it hasn't dawned on them the implication.
Them. It's like you're no longer Nigeria.
No, I do my part. I do my part.
I see.
In every little way I do. I try to hold my leaders accountable. I try to be involved in the process. So when it dawns on Nigerians, the implications of, because we don't know, we don't understand. I think Nigerians should first maybe study the Constitution, because most of us don't know what the Constitution is about. My brother here said the federal government should hold the state government responsible, but it's their constitutional and statutory right to get those allocations. They don't owe the government accountability on those allocations. They owe the citizens, they owe their own state attorney generals, they owe the people in their states, and maybe the EFCC if there's a probe on that. Now, the Constitution provides immunity for these same people for the period while they are in office. So it's almost hard for the EFCC to drag them. But Nigerians are not talking about the Constitution. Nigerians are not talking about the immunity given to governors. Nigerians are not talking about the allocations and what the governors are using it for. They are not protesting in their states. So I feel Nigerians have to understand hierarchy in governance. That, okay, there's a path for federal government. If federal government does not give your state allocation, you can come and protest in Abuja. Give our state governor our money. We need our money for development, as we saw when they withheld some local government funds in Osun State. Now, going past that, if the federal government has done its fiscal responsibility to your state by giving your state what is accrued to it, take into consideration that these monies that we're talking about, FAAC, is not federal government's own to keep. It's from states, it's from oil and non-oil sectors, it's from VATs, it's from levies, tax and levies and everything. So it's the states that contribute, and all these resources are domiciled within the state's purview. They contribute to the federal purse. The federal now shares it equitably with the state government. So now, if what we are saying now, the federal government has performed its fiscal and monetary responsibilities to your state governor by giving him his allocation in full, now it's now left on, the onus now lies on the citizens of that state to demand accountability on how that money is being spent by their state governor.
All right, Gershom, your thoughts on this very quickly?
Okay, so I feel the word being docile, that is docility, I feel is rather harsh, but I feel is...
He says complacent. Which one is your own description?
So I'll say we give up too soon. I'll just probably say we give up too soon. And why am I saying this? I discovered that in Nigeria, most, especially among there's this book that somebody wrote, I can't remember now, The Enemy Called Average. I just feel we have a lot of people in the middle class I feel can actually change Nigeria. But they just feel, I'm a bit okay. I can eat 3 square meals. I can send my kids to relatively good schools, and they really don't want to get involved. So, and I feel if we continue on this path, we'll continue to suffer the things that we have always suffered. So I just feel like I was talking with some people that we are part of the 2023 elections, and they'll tell me that I'm not going to vote in 2027, that the one I voted in 2023 didn't count. So, and that's why I say, I will not say they are totally docile, but I'll just say we give up too easily. And I was telling somebody that Atiku has been looking for the presidency since 1993. and it has not worked for him, but he has not given up. I'm like, I've seen these are politicians, they don't give up. It has not always favored President Tinubu, for instance. President Tinubu has always wanted to be president too since when he finished as a governor. But he was watching it. At some point, he allowed Buhari to go first. And he asked 2019, he said, it's my turn. So these people, our politicians, they don't give up. Like, if they don't get it this year, they go the next year. If they don't get it the next year, they go the next year.
So your point is that Nigerians are trying, but then when they meet up some kind of roadblock,
they try once or twice, and when they don't get it, like, let me say, the way they tried NSAS once, and with what they saw, nobody wants to go back to the street in that strength anymore.
But very quickly, because we need to go for the news. Okay. Very quickly, my question to you is this, and think on it while we go for the news and come back. When it comes to tracking of these funds, what are the structures, what are the systems that are available to Nigerians to track? Because it's possible that people are looking, right? And even when it might not be everybody that is looking, but for the few people that are looking, even when they come up with some information, the follow through for Nigerians or people within the state to say, okay, I've got this information and this is how I can follow through to ensure that we get the response, may be lacking. Think on that for it, because we need to go. We need to go for the news. When we come back, we will look at it. And that's why I said, even if INEC were to take this up and say, okay, let's track it, what do they have in place to actually track these funds? We'll come back and speak some more on that. Dorcas is here for the news. We'll be back.
The politics of our nation.
They have that right to protest. There is no need to go there now start shooting.
The current affairs of our state.
Everywhere we have gone to, the dirt of Abuja is not on the surface.
All at your fingertips on your Let's Talk station.
95.1 Nigeria Info. Let's Talk.
Nigeria.
With 27 years of unbroken democratic rule in Nigeria since 1999, what have we gained? Where have we faltered? And where do we go from here?
It's time for the big conversation. 95.1 Nigeria Info FM Abuja presents its first virtual town hall meeting on X Spaces. Examining Nigeria's Fourth Republic, the gains, the failures, and the roadmap forward.
We're bringing the heavy hitters to the mic.
Aisha Yusufu, human and political rights activists and politicians.
Security experts, Kabir Adamu, policy and development experts, Edosa Oviawe, legal luminary and human rights lawyer, Dr. Maxwell Okpara, broadcast veteran, Karl Nabwefe Orakwe, and chief economist, Paul Alaje.
Join the dialogue. Set your reminders. Date is Friday, May 22nd, 2026. Time 3 p.m. Prompt. Where? On X. Follow at Nigeria Info ABJ to join the space.
95.1 Nigeria Info FM. Let's talk.
made of trustworthy ideas, passionately connected to everyone. Let's talk on Nigeria Info 95.1 Abuja.
Welcome back to Hard Facts.
This is Hard Facts.
Hard Facts. On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. We're still on the roundtable discussion this afternoon. It's Somi here, and I've got Uduebor and Gershom Obiaga, who are helping us break down the conversation around FAAC allocations and if transparency is possible. We took it from the allegations brought forward by members of the ADC who stated that 800 billion naira had been diverted, and they had documents from the World Bank to prove it. We're yet to see those documents, but the bigger question we're asking ourselves is, even if those documents did not come about, as Ladan Salihu was saying in the interview on Arise, the INEX of this world should take it up. The CSOs of this world should take it up. The people of Nigeria should take it up. And just before we went for the news, we were talking about who this responsibility does rest on. But even more so, I'd asked the question, which I'd like my guests to jump in on, and that is, even if Nigerians said, look, we want to follow through with this, do they have the systems and the structures that make it possible for them to do this? Now, to shine a little more light on why this conversation is important, Serap, who brought forward this information also, talking about diversion of campaign funding, diversion of FAAC for campaign funding, and also calling on INEC to investigate the matter. We're talking about how opaque political financing remains a major entry point for corruption and also a threat to democratic legitimacy. And so they said Nigerians deserve to know who funds the candidates or political parties of their choice and any sources of such funding. This is also what they're bringing forward on the matter. They said the allegations of diversion or opaque use of public funds pose a grave risk to the integrity of the 2027 general elections. Large-scale public fiscal flows combined with weak transparency mechanisms create a reasonable basis for INEC to activate its constitutional and statutory mandates. This is what Serap was saying in their report. And which brings us to even the question, is Nigeria's campaign finance framework functional, or is it merely symbolic? But before we answer that question, what I left you to with in terms of, if the people were to follow through, what is available for them to work with? Because a lot of Nigerians, from the comments that we've seen, will depend on an INEC, for example, who they believe have the structures to investigate. A lot of Nigerians will also depend on an EFCC, which you called for, to say, look, these are the things that are available to us, so why don't we use them? Why are you resting this responsibility on us? What else is available to Nigerian people to follow through on this?
So basically, I feel what you just mentioned, the people, the EFCC and ICPC, INEC, those are the constitutional bodies that are supposed to probe this. But I feel like somebody said something about morality. I just feel we have a very deep morality deficit in Nigeria. People don't really care about their names anymore. People don't care about a good name anymore. They are just more eager I was just trying to remember somebody that was asked, one of the presidents in United that asked his chief of staff, for instance, whose side are you? And the chief of staff was bold enough to tell him that I'm on the side of the United States of America, meaning that I'm with you if you are on the side of the people of America, and I'm not going to be with you if you are not on the side of the people. Now, I don't think we have an EFCC boss, for instance, that can tell a Tinubu that. I don't think we have an INEC chairman that can tell the president that I'm on the side of the people. So, and that is where the issue of morality comes. That is where the issue of courage and not caring what you lose come into play. I feel we are just highly dependent on don't bite the finger that in quote feeds you. So, and if we continue like that, we are not going to go anywhere. Somebody mentioned something that these problems that we've had has come a long way back from the 60s and all, and it's like there is no machinery in place to help this. if you see what's happening right now with, like recently, INEC chairman, for instance, was on the eyes of the storm. Right now, it has died down when they talked of him supporting APC before now and all of that. If you notice, the news just came at the moment, and right now the news is like died down already. I know they came out and said they did an investigation and all of that, but I would have expected a more independent investigation. So I feel we are so tied to the system up there that it's extremely hard for anything to move if the man up there doesn't want it to move.
Ose, do you agree to that? This institutions of state that are supposed to ensure that everything is in order, they are not independent of the man at the top?
While I always Nigerians always, that's why I use the word complacent. A Nigerian youth, if you tell a Nigerian youth that, oh, they are doing recruitment in CBN, go and try. Do you understand? Go and fill the form, the application, go and apply. He will tell you, they've already filled up those spaces. There's no need now. He hasn't even tried. I know people that tried without knowing anybody that got those jobs. But the average Nigerian will tell you, big men have already taken the slots. That is how it cuts across. Until you test the system, we can't assume that the system has failed. We know people that went to court.
No, it's not a case of failing. It's a case of independence from the administration.
If we know people that EFCC in the current administration have prosecuted successfully, we know people that Nigerian police force have arrested, investigated, taken to court, and court has passed judgment in this administration. So my point is, there are systems in place for the ordinary Nigerian to check his governor. This report, I don't even know why FAAC was mentioned in this report. It's not, the money was not taken from FAAC. It should have just simply stated state governors take state government money and use it, divert it for election purposes.
Is that not FAAC?
No, that's not FAAC. It has nothing to do with FAAC.
So the monies you're saying didn't come from the federal allocation?
Because when the state governors generate revenue, internally generated revenue, they have their own internally generated revenue that accrues into their state government accounts.
Well, I don't know if we're looking at the figures of IGR per these states compared to the figures of federal allocation, it does seem like the federal allocation will serve more of this purpose, because how much are the states even generating internally?
A state like Lagos generates billions monthly.
I think they've hit the trillion naira mark for Lagos.
So, and we're talking of 800 billion. So
yeah, but Lagos is an outlier. Lagos is an outlier. If you were to use other states,
we can start calling states. Do you understand that generate revenue? And we're not talking of this. We're not saying this 800 billion. They're not saying it's one state. They are saying the APC governors. So we're talking about 31 states, not just one state. So if 31 states pull together their IGROs and part of their FAAC allocation, they should be able to some of that money. So the news should have just been APC governors embezzle state funds for campaign purposes. It makes more sense.
Allegedly.
Because this is allegedly, yes, allegedly. Because this is trying to drag the federal government into a fight that doesn't concern it. Because the moment you mention FAAC, they'll be like, it's federal government now, it's them now, they've started sharing the money for themselves.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we know for a fact that the president did not authorize this.
Okay, we need to go back to the phone lines, but very quickly, on paper, we boast of, when I say me, I mean Nigeria, boasts an extensively detailed legal architecture designed to curb the corrupt influence of money politics. And of course, this is one of the fears that they have, that these monies, FAAC, or wherever it is that you want to say that they are coming from, are going to be used to influence money politics in 2027. Let me finish. The cornerstone of this framework is the Electoral Act, which explicitly sets spending ceilings, bans specific types of anonymous donations, and establishes disclosure protocols. This is what we have on paper. But in actual fact, should this be an INEC responsibility to take up on, do you think that they will be able to do anything about these monies, assuming they did make it into campaign funding for 2027? Do they have the structures to be able to do that, to investigate, to prosecute if indeed this money trail leads into campaign funding? Do you think that they will be able to do anything about it, really?
Now, that just to chip in, as I speak to you, there's a bill sponsored by the Speaker of the National Assembly, co-sponsored by the former immediate past Speaker of the Edo South Assembly, and Marcus Onobo. There's a bill. The bill is called the Political Parties Bill HB 1892. This bill seeks that's scaled through the second reading already. Okay. It's on committee level. This bill seeks to address these concerns you just raised. Number one, the core of the bill is to establish an independent authority for registration, regulation, and funding of political parties.
A different
body. As is done in developed climes.
I mean, we already have an independent body in INEC. Isn't this a proliferation?
It seeks to create the office of the Registrar of Political Parties for Registration Oversight.
Okay.
Set up a political parties dispute tribunal, and also amend section 75 to 81 of the Electoral Act 2020 to remove party registration from INEC's functions.
Why?
INEC is supposed to superintend over elections. That is their core function. Election financing and party financing is another different issue entirely. That is not the election itself.
Okay.
You understand? Superintend independent National Electoral Commission to pretend over our elections. Now, there's also the fine of 10 million naira, I think, the paltry sum for people that flaunt, for political parties that don't have their, they're supposed to submit their audited account to INEC. But when was the last time INEC told PDP that, do you understand, let us see your audited account? When was the last time they did that? So, as I speak to you, when I say there is already a bill that has scaled through the second reading, which means any moment from now, it will be passed into law.
Gershom, do we need this?
So I'll say we really don't. We just need to strengthen the institutions that we have. Like he said something about this current government that the EFCC have investigated people in this same government. And now I'm sure between us, we know that probably there are allegedly, let me say, okay, you might not want to agree. Let me assume that we'll know that there are up to like 100 corrupt people in this government that don't have immunity, that EFCC will still not go after. So I don't know why it's like, if we say Nigeria is a very, very corrupt, they always say Nigeria is a very, very corrupt country. And you now hear that even in this government, they've been able to prosecute 1 or 2 or 3 people that are part of the government. Now, it calls for concern that if you have probably close to, like, let me say, the people that Tinubu, I believe, have appointed are up to 1,000. If you have up to 1,000 appointees by one person, and probably there are a lot of them that are corrupt, and I feel if you are probing 1 or 2, investigating 1 or 2, I don't think that is a good fight. I feel there are a lot of people that are working scot-free, that are just there. Nobody is looking out for them. Nobody is searching. I just feel it's when it comes to the social media, when maybe some of these things have become extremely glaring, that EFCC, and that's why I use the case of the EFCC chairman coming out himself to say, we've investigated this man for like 6 months, and it was unsolicited. Nobody asked them to do that. I just feel that's how they should go across every minister.
So strengthening the institutions will look like what exactly?
So
because you said we should strengthen the institutions.
It's still going to come down to the place of morality. The people know what they are supposed to do. EFCC knows exactly what he is supposed to do. You said something earlier. You were asking something about if they have the capacity to actually probe this system to find the results that they are looking for. I feel when it comes to structure, when it comes to paperwork, our legal system have been able to cover almost everything that needs to be covered. They've been able to create a very good tracking system. They want to track corruption. The truth is, if you want to track every penny in this government that is missing, they have the capacity to do that. Whether the money was stolen in dollars or in naira or in pounds, if they go to zone 4, they know exactly how to track our dollars that go to zone 4, no matter how you corner it or anyhow. I have a banker friend that will tell me that money cannot be missing. It's kept somewhere. It's either somebody moved it from one place to another, but money is not like a spirit that you just say, all of a sudden we can't see 10 billion naira anymore, we can't see 100 million anymore. Monies monies always have a trail.
So what we are lacking is what? Political will?
We are lacking the political will. We are lacking the willpower. We are also lacking morality. And I just feel for some reasons we always look at the body language started with Buhari, and I feel it has come into this government also. So I feel the EFCCs and the ICPCs and the rest, they look at the body language of the president. How will he feel if I go after the Senate president? How will he feel if I go after a Wike? How will he feel if I go after this? So they keep looking at this body language, and they do this self-censorship continuously. Like, they continue to leave the people that, like I will still repeat it, the way the EFCC chairman came to say, I investigated this man for 6 months. Let him come outside and tell us that I have investigated Wike for 6 months, and I can tell you that he's clean, or I have investigated Akpabio, because I'm calling people that currently don't have immunity. Let him come out and say, I've investigated these people too. So
when you say currently don't have immunity?
Because they are not governors. We only have immunity for the president and the governors and the deputy governors. The Senate president or any minister does not have immunity, which means the EFCC can probe them the way they probed the Jerry Eze, which I feel was a waste of time probing a Jerry Eze. They should probe these people, and we'll know where we are as a country.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. 0809-597-4869, and WhatsApp says on WhatsApp is 009-993-0137. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome. Hello, are you there?
You see, I'm here. So you see, on the issue of prosecution, because I've been listening to what the two speakers. Please, if anybody wants to do justice to any argument, please give us data to support your argument. Any argument you make without data is just baseless or propaganda. We know. Then, if you say EFC prosecuted people, how many did they prosecute? What are the class of those people they prosecuted? Then, two, on the issue of the 800 billion naira election money, whether it is from FAAC or from FAAC or SAC, whatever it is, as long as we have agreed, everybody in the studio has agreed that this allegation is there. What stops the president if he heard it and say, this is money that can make impact in our economy? So why is it? It's like it was spoken. The body language of the president does not give anybody any hope. That's the truth. And we must tell ourselves the truth. See how the country is going. World Bank, everybody is saying that Nigeria is on the wrong trajectory. And somebody will be in that studio still playing politics.
You will not attack my guest. Please speak to the issues and don't mention it. If you have a problem with what was said, address what was said. And please do not at any point be disrespectful to my guest. Thank you very much. The onus to find out the truth of this 800 billion rests with the press. Eddie Sang is saying the press should undertake investigative journalism to expose the truth here. All right, we hear you. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Somi.
Welcome.
And your guest. My name is Zayo from Eteche.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, please, Somi, I want to understand one thing. Did you say the 800 billion are they kept in one account?
No, I did not say that. Remember, we started by providing context. ADC, members of the ADC came out to say that a World Bank report talked about 800 billion are being diverted for use of campaign funding. That's what I said.
Okay. Because if it was in an account, I would say if a state governor wants to campaign for his own campaign, he cannot keep money in a single account with every other governor. Maybe that money would have been for presidential campaign. But since you say it was not in one account, then I don't have anything to say. But I thought that money was kept in one account because as a governor, if I want to do my own campaign, I won't be siphoning money to go and keep it in an account that everybody will know. You understand? Unless if all the 31 governors of the APC are siphoning that money, or they are stealing that money for the presidential campaign. Because that can be done. 800 billion is more. You understand? It cannot be just for my own state alone.
Okay. I think you have a point there. And if I remember, the president's name was not entirely absent from this allegation of the 800 billion naira. I believe the contributions were being made to some extent.
Fund the presidential.
Allegedly.
No, that's not what was said in the report. If you could read the report for us.
No, I think that was what was said, that the Governors Forum are deducting money from their...
When the Progressive Governors Forum...
not for this. They didn't mention presidential.
Okay. We'll go back and we'll go back and check the particulars of that report.
For their re-election.
No, not for their okay. If you want,
like I said, we'll go back and check the particulars again of the report, because there is a point there. You said something. What your friend in banking said. Yeah. The money is somewhere.
Yes, and it's trackable.
The money is somewhere. So was it placed in one account, or is the 800 billion just?
So it was actually allegedly it was placed in one account that was that is being overseen by the president of the chairman of
the Governors Forum. Hope Uzodima's name was mentioned in that.
The silent issues that started initially, that they said some governors were now angry that even the Hope Uzodima is not clearly disclosing to them what is left in their account, because allegedly they were removing a part of the monies that was their collective contribution, the 31 governors, the money they are allegedly contributing, that a part of it was being diverted for funding the presidential election. I think if you play it again, I'm sure I heard that it's for the presidential election.
We would look at that. Yeah. Good afternoon, moderator, and your guest. Thanks for the good work, especially this topic. It's just unfortunate. What a mess. The money in question is citizens' money that is meant for development, now diverted to the re-election of the president. This is John P. Abuja saying the EFCC and ICPC are on a crossroads in this matter. Israel says, so may recall that Malam Nasir El-Rufai had earlier raised an allegation against the president of 100 billion naira monthly deduction to the Federation account. Your defense guest shouldn't bring in state governors or put blame on them when almost the whole thing is cooked and served in Abuja. All the looted money you're hearing about is in preparation for vote buying. Until ex-presidents are arrested and prosecuted for such malpractices, you can only expect worse leaders than the current one. Israel with that one. And good afternoon, Somi. I thought you told us the story about the 800 billion naira is still an allegation. The submission of some callers on the station is making it look like the allegation has been proven. According to the law of the land, he who alleges must prove. This is electioneering season. Anybody can throw up damning allegations against anyone and create a damaging perception. Well, just in case you didn't hear it earlier on, it is an allegation. And I did say that there is no evidence presented. However, we are debating the finer points of the matter to say, with or without evidence, who should be looking into this to clear the name of the person who this allegation has been brought against. The Queen says, hello, Somi. I think these politicians need to undergo psychological testing before contesting for elections. Also, there's a need to make a law for the politicians to undergo a debate before elections so that they will be held accountable. On the issue of vote buying, really, all that money for vote buying, I don't think so, because if such money really gets into the economy through vote buying, shouldn't the economy feel it positively? Investigations should be done, and efforts should be made to ensure these monies are not laundered abroad. The Queen with that one. We need to take a quick commercial, pay some bills. When we come back, we'll take more of your thoughts. Stay with us.
Kan titi ke magana a yau za mu ga kyakkyawar sani da mutane suka yi wa magi cikin flavor. Na gaba karanto harufan celery.
S-E-A-L-A-R-R-I-E celery.
Haba mutumina, ka ce kawai ka sauya harufan zuwa salary. To ga damar karshe karanto